The Delaware and Hudson Railroad was founded in 1823 as the Delaware and Hudson Canal Company, the purpose of which was to barge anthracite coal from Honesdale in northeastern Pennsylvania to Kingston, New York, just north of Poughkeepsie on the Hudson River. At first, the canal company's only tracks were laid for a roller coaster type gravity railroad connecting the coal mines to the canal head at Honesdale, but in 1860, several steam locomotive powered lines were built in the Carbondale area. Through an amalgamation of several lines, including the Jefferson, the Albany and Susquehanna, the Rensselaer and Saratoga, and the Naperville Junction, the complete Delaware and Hudson Railroad finally stretched from Wilkes-Barre and Binghamton north to Montreal. Though the D&H was a relatively small line, if you considered only its 800 or so miles of track, it had superior connections at both ends and was able to offer rapid service for bridge traffic by strictly adhering to its train schedules. The Pennsylvania Division consisted of the southernmost and oldest portion of the line and ran from Wilkes-Barre through Scranton, Carbondale, and Lanesboro to Nineveh and Oneonta. The D&H ran miners' commuter trains between Scranton and Carbondale, and these were mostly powered by Class D3 460 10-wheelers, such as number 500 shown here pulling out of Scranton. Hop aboard for the run to Carbondale. Bringing up the rear of this train is one of the new, at that time, lightweight streamlined passenger cars designed and built for the D&H by American Car and Foundry. Trains between Carbondale and Lanesboro had to climb Ararat Mountain, a chore that required plenty of power on the head end and often similar muscle pushing on the rear. Class J 4664 Challenger number 1521, Class H 0880 number 1601, and a pair of Class E6A 280 consolidations will team up on a northbound out of Carbondale. 1521 will take the point, and 1601 with the two heavy consolidations will couple to the rear for a big push up the hill. "1521 blasts upgrade to the summit and tower YD. The D&H connected with the Erie at Lanesboro, and near that connection could be found the Erie's famous Starooka Viaduct. An Erie double-headed freight rolls over the viaduct, and passing beneath is a Delaware and Hudson Challenger-powered freight. Sit back and enjoy some further action on the Mountainous Pennsylvania Division. A northbound Challenger-headed freight approaches YD Tower at Ararat Summit. The Challenger will continue north to help the next southbound up the hill, while the Class H will cut off and head back to Carbondale. This leg of the line between Binghamton and Oneonta is the southern end of the Susquehanna Division and is a portion of what was originally the Albany and Susquehanna Railroad. Belden Hill is found in this sector. Y.O. Cabin sat 3.5 miles northeast of Binghamton at Port Dickinson. Tunnel is positioned at the top of Belden Hill and the crest of a 1.06% grade. The Class H 0880 helper will cut off here. The New York, Ontario, and Western crossed the Delaware and Hudson at Sydney, and here an NYO&W local crosses the Diamond. At Wells Bridge, a mailbag is placed on the crane to be picked up on the fly. One of the D&H's original yards and shops were built at Oneonta. A 52-stall roundhouse with 24-hour activity here once was the eye of the railroad's operations. The northern or eastern sector of the Susquehanna Division is next explored. Richmondville Hill lies between Oneonta and Cobleskill, and at 1.31% is almost as steep as Ararat's maximum 1.48% grade. Breaking off the main line at Cobleskill, the Cherry Valley branch stretched 23 miles to that town. Delancey sits on top of Schoharie Hill, and here the line splits, with one leg to Schenectady and the other going to Albany. A freight powered by a Class K62 484 Northern and an E6A 280 consolidation rolls by. Continuing on, we roll east towards Albany. Here, we'll find the Delaware and Hudson's General Office Building. This Gothic architectural style building was completed in 1918 and consisted of a 12-story castle-like tower with two 5-story wings. Located 7 miles north of Albany were the Colony main shops. These were completed in 1912 and replaced the then obsolete Oneonta and 2 other shops as the main service facility on the Delaware and Hudson. Class B4A Camelback 060 number 46 was built by Alco in 1904 and served 45 years until being scrapped in 1949. Class B5 080 Switcher number 84 started life in 1899 as a Class E4 280 consolidation and was rebuilt into this configuration at Colony in 1924. She also lasted until 1949. Class B6 080 number 100 was born in 1930 from the frame and boiler of 2 separate 1904 built E3A consolidations. She saw service until scrapping in 1953. The Boston and Maine and the Delaware and Hudson had a joint yard in Mechanicville. In here, we see 2 B&M FTs and an F3. A Delaware and Hudson 1946 built Alco RS2 also rolls by. The health resort town of Saratoga Springs is located 40 miles north of Albany. The 484 Northern powered Laurentian pulls into the 1871 vintage frame and stone station. Begun by the Adirondack Company in 1865, A rail line was built north out of Saratoga to Corinth, and by 1871 was extended to North Creek. This line became the Delaware and Hudson's North Creek branch in 1902 and saw passenger service until September 1956. Class G5 American Type 440 number 449 was built by Alco in 1904 and lasted until 1948. A Class E2B 280 Camelback speeds by with a mixed local. And a 10-wheeler eases into Hadley. Branching off the main at Fort Edward, a line was run northwest through Glens Falls and into Lake George, a resort town on the south end of the lake of the same name. Recreation was the order of the day, with many enjoying a dip in the beautiful lake, while some others spent the day on one of the lake excursion boats, and still others partook of equestrian relaxation. Class D3 460 10-wheeler number 557 heads into Lake George. This Class E48 consolidation was Alco built in 1904 and was first number 216, then number 837, and finally after a 1926 rebuild, number 810. The northernmost portion of the Delaware and Hudson makes up the Champlain Division, which basically was bordered by Ballston on the south and Rouse's Point on the north. Fort Anne is located about midway between Fort Edward and Whitehall, and the station here used to be an old wooden combination car. Shortly after this 1-horsepower device crosses the tracks, a Class P 462 Pacific will roll through the town. The station at Whitehall was constructed on a hillside along the west side of the tracks, just south of the yard and engine terminal. A branch ran west out of Whitehall to the town of Rutland, Vermont, and about midway between the two was Castleton, where Class E2A 280 Camelback number 740 readies to head out to Rutland. Class E2B consolidation number 784 gets tucked into the roundhouse. From Whitehall north, the line parallels Lake Champlain, and shown next are several scenes of Class K 484 Northerns in both passenger and freight service at several locations, including Port Henry and the famous Red Rock sector and tunnel. This picturesque station is located at Plattsburgh, and here we'll see Alco RS2 diesel number 4001, soon to pull out south with a local. At West Chazy, a Class P1 Pacific number 651 headed local slows for orders. Rouse's Point is on the Canadian border and is where the Naperville Junction Railway completes the connection to Montreal. Class E5 number 1071 crosses the Rutland Diamond. Prior to coming to the Naperville Junction, consolidation number 914 was originally built in 1903 as number 237 for the Delaware and Hudson, and later was rebuilt and renumbered 858. A Rutland local with a milk car rolls by. Over the border at Delson, the Laurentian speeds by. Moving up in time to the late 1960s, Alco Century 628 number 604 heads up a southbound freight at Nineveh Junction. Twin RS2s head up the Sayre job, which ran on the Erie-Lackawanna from Binghamton to Owego and on Lehigh Valley rails from Owego into Sayre. C628 number 603 leads a freight switching over to the Penn Division at Nineveh Junction. The D&H bought 4 Alco PAs from the Santa Fe in 1967 and replaced the red with blue in the famous war bonnet paint scheme. Alco RS-11s head up 2 passenger trains in the Red Rocks area. The Reading was formed as the Philadelphia and Reading Railroad in April 1833 as a carrier of anthracite coal in southeastern Pennsylvania. In 1839, the line between Philadelphia and Reading opened for business, and by mid-1842, a port on the Delaware River was completed, thus allowing the line a huge outlet for its hard coal traffic. Starting from a 93-mile-long main line, the Reading would, over a 100-year span, buy, lease, and merge almost 100 smaller railroads to ultimately form a massive 1,300-mile system. The road acquired the Wilmington and Northern Railroad in 1898, and it became the longest branch line on the Reading, stretching 65 miles southerly from Birdsboro on the Reading to Philadelphia, Maine, to Wilmington, Delaware. Wandering along the historic, twisting Brandywine Creek Valley for many miles, the Wilmington and Northern Branch was a wonderfully scenic line, and in fact was the scene of many Iron Horse rambles. Our tour of the Wilmington and Northern begins in Wilmington, and steaming out in front of the engine house is Class B7A 060 switcher number 1351. A Pennsylvania Railroad GG1 speeds by overhead, while Class A5A 040 switcher number 1151 makes up evening freight WR1. Class I9SB 280 consolidation number 1672 slips by. Number 1953 was a Class I9SC 280 consolidation and was equipped with 61.5-inch drivers, allowing a higher 50-mile-per-hour speed than the other 55.5-inch driver 280s. Number 1953 pulls out with extra WR1. branch ran east out of Montchanin to Rockland, and when a train was sent out on the branch, the signboard was hung accordingly. Class E4A Camelback 080 number 1412 was originally built in the 1890s as a 280 consolidation and was converted to her here shown configuration around 1920. We'll next see the picturesque station at Winterthur and a freight running through the rocky cut there. Scenes in the area between Winterthur and Chadds Fort Junction are followed by a view of a local at Pocopson and pictures of Brandywine Creek. That's a Pennsy branch crossing the WNN. A meet of two consolidations, numbers 1920 and 1950, occurs at Embryville. Modena was the site of a huge steam locomotive graveyard where hundreds of Reading and other roads' engines were scrapped. Coatesville was a major city on the Wilmington and Northern since large steel mills here generated heavy traffic for the line. Several 280 consolidations are shown hauling freight and passengers in and out of town. Those tracks high above in the background belong to the Pennsylvania's main electrified line from Harrisburg to Philadelphia. Sharp curves and a 1% grade were encountered north of Coatesville, and seen are several of the little stations along the way. Class I-8B 280 number 1503 crosses another Pennsy branch at Sup Lee. Another Camelback consolidation powers a freight through Joanna. Coming up, we'll hop aboard the morning passenger train from Coatesville to Reading and let the pictures tell the rest of the story.